What's up everyone, KJ from Rakurai Network here. Last time on Berserker Week we covered Broly and why I actually really enjoy his character from a more scientific and psychological approach. If you haven't seen that video, I recommend you pause this video and check. Who am I kidding? Nobody's going to do that. Just bear in mind you may be slightly confused as we're going with it. Basically, today I'll be analyzing Kale's character. And the main thing that we just want to bear in mind here is that I won't be going over Broly that much because I may or may not be making a compare and contrast video at some point in the future if you guys feel it's necessary. Only then. But for the time being, take off those Broly bias goggles and let's take a look at Kale. That was a joke. I wasn't trying to undermine. Just roll the intro, please. From the moment Kale's character debuted, I saw a completely different character from what I expected. She's incredibly shy and timid, which is something that the other Saiyans of Universe 6 and the audience looked down upon. We're used to seeing Saiyans be brute, elite, and proud characters, rarely succumbing to fear and letting their emotions get the better of them. However, this is very similar to Gohan from the early Saiyan arc. Piccolo in particular loathed the personality of the at the time emotionally fragile Gohan, not because of the history of Saiyans, but because these beings in this series are meant to be fighters from the show's main mantra. I love Kid Gohan and seeing how, looking back on it all, he basically broke that mold in many ways. One thing that made him very unique too was the fact that his power only truly showed in moments of his unyielding rage, anger, and helplessness. This anger would eventually have to be controlled. In every transformation that he would get, he'd have to overcome that whole thing where it overcomes your personality and psyche. He'd eventually have to become a great warrior by the time of his final fight with Cell, which I believe he did. I say all of this to convey that I enjoy Kale's character so much because of the parallels between her character and Kid Gohan. Kale is going through a similar character arc in Universe 6 as she shields herself behind Caulifla in intense situations and never fights for herself in most circumstances. However, Caulifla in her attempts to basically tell Kale that she has to for the sake of the freaking universe ends up triggering the Berserker transformation due to Kale witnessing Caulifla and Kaba having an argument. Bear her pre-Berserker transformation dialogue in mind every time she transforms, however. She constantly makes statements along the lines of feeling useless, being in the way, and other self-deprecating statements while shedding numerous tears. These statements immediately show themselves as signs of not complex trauma like Broly, but rather extreme levels of depression. PsychCentral.com describes it as such. A survey by Dr. Aaron Beck revealed that over 80% of depressed people express dislike for themselves. According to Dr. Beck, when you are depressed, you feel the 4 Ds. Yes, I laughed too. Defeated, defective, deserted, and deprived. Before we go on into the explanation, I want to break down where each of these 4 Ds, I still want to laugh, yeah, apply to Kale. Defeated. She always feels that she's inadequate, and emotionally she feels as though her willpower amounts to nothing. When she first tried to go Super Saiyan and couldn't do it, you can see the grief, the anguish, the utter emotional and mental defeat. Every time she feels that she didn't live up to expectations, she shows this defeated nature that makes me sympathetic for the character. Defective. It's not so much that I feel that she herself is defective as a character, but rather that she's defective by what other characters think of her. Her timidity and shyness as a character is looked heavily down upon by everyone. Caulifla seemed rather surprised and somewhat nettled when Kale wasn't initially able to transform, almost like she bought an appliance and it didn't work how she expected. This again comes back to how Kale took these things to heart and became very emotionally broken. Brokenness is the equivalent of being self-deficient, and self-deprecation can make one even more emotionally defective. Deserted. What better example than Goku and Caulifla's battle during the Tournament of Power? Essentially, Goku said, "Be gone, fuck!" And Kale basically stood in awe of what seemed to be to her an absolute abandonment by Caulifla. At this specific moment, amidst many other moments including feeling alone and being the only one who couldn't transform with relative ease, she felt deserted and helpless. Seeing someone who she looks up to as her sister completely leave her like that. This isn't the first time, nor do I feel this is the last time, that she will feel deserted and alone. And finally, deprived. Where do I begin? Deprived of power that everyone except her seemed to easily obtain, deprived of a stronger relationship with her fellow Saiyans, deprived of respect from others. There are so many instances in which I could say that Kale feels deprived of emotional needs, where she feels deprived of the aptitude of her fellow Saiyans. She feels like nothingness compared to all of her fellow Saiyans in so many instances. Kale has all of these signs of depression, but if that's not enough, Psych Central continues by saying that depressed individuals see themselves as deficient in those qualities of life they most highly value: intelligence, achievement, popularity, attractiveness, health, and strength. and almost all negative emotional reactions cause damage by contributing to feelings of low self-esteem. Need I say more? She doesn't feel smart because she can't achieve Super Saiyan. She doesn't feel any level of achievement for the same reason. She has no strength in her belief, etc. Kale, through something that either happened to her in her life that we don't know, or just being in her normal demeanor, seems to be very much clinically depressed. However, with that being said, this makes the transformation into the Berserker mode even more impactful for her than I would say it does for Broly, in my opinion. Broly felt anger for several reasons, and I feel that he had a case of complex trauma. However, Kale felt a lack of self-worth ever since things began in this arc, and probably from some things that we don't know about. So, let's go more into detail about Berserker mode. There are a few things to bear in mind here. One being that Berserker mode is not the same thing as Legendary Super Saiyan for many reasons, including the simple fact that Legendary Super Saiyan Broly is not even canon per the source material, meaning that by Super's inclusion in the canon, this is our first official, somewhat canonical look at this type of form. In this instance, it seems to be drawn by feelings of inadequacy and guilt, even when it's not the user's fault. However, once unleashed, the rage is more focused than it is in Legendary Super Saiyan, I would say. Whoever was the predominant trigger in that instant becomes her target, and anyone who stands in her way becomes decimated. It's an awesome take on things, I think. Bear in mind also that with her first time transforming against Cabba and Caulifla, that power was completely new, and thus probably couldn't exert how much it could truly do. However, going by the fact that Berserker hasn't canonically appeared until now, the multiplier is unknown, meaning that the writers could make this form as strong as they want to because, again, it canonically has not existed before. Despite one's negative feelings towards Broly, that cannot be one's reasons for why Berserker mode Kale can't be as powerful as she seems to be. Legendary Super Saiyan and Berserker mode are, again, not the same form. But honestly guys, as always, that's just my view on it. If you enjoyed the video and or agreed with anything that I had to say, drop a like and also comment your thoughts on the topic. Please share the video with people that you know and people that you don't know but you just want to harass from my videos, in which case thank you, and please subscribe to the channel if you are new. With that being said, I love you all so much. I hope you all have an amazing day. Don't let anyone change who you are, and God bless. Peace out, everyone.
Noah! Larry, what did you go?
Larry!
Larry, you can't just... Oh.
Larry!